To me, there are different forms of online.
We need to be careful about how we use emergent technologies.
I would always rather teach in person.
I never did any online teaching until the pandemic.
It was asynchronous, and the teacher did a really good job in engaging us.
Each of these excerpts likely embodies some of the sentiments we all felt while navigating the modality minefield that became pandemic-era online teaching and learning. In some ways, it made us frustrated and desperate to return to in-person. Burned out and cooped up for too long, we began to overlook the potential of multimodality, transcending the boundaries of race, class, ability, time, location, and age. We reconsigned our technological appendages, crucial as they are to daily life, to nothing more than tools that confine rather than connect. After all, it is impossible to reach into the screen and enter a new world of possibilities. Or is it? School has to look like this: books, pens, paper, lectures, in person, synchronous and rigidly structured. It's hard to break away from what we know. Frankly, it's sometimes difficult to tell uncomfortable truths and to think creatively. Unfortunately, Arachne learned this lesson all too well. Her brashness in depicting the gods and all their limitations left her cursed. Yet I wonder how this tale might have been different had Athena and Arachne worked together. As scholars and teaching practitioners, how might our own stories completely shift if we started thinking off the grid of brick-and-mortar institutions? How might we storyboard an educational experience that is truly diverse, equitable, and inclusive? What does access in action really look like? What if we used accessibility as an initial guiding principle in course design and modality rather than relying on what supposedly worked in the past? We refuse to ask ourselves these complex questions and instead rely on blanket responses within the bounds of ADA compliance. Our implementation of accessibility is piecemeal at best. The elephant in the room is accounting for students' diverse backgrounds, needs, and preferences. And it's true that such considerations are time-consuming and challenging. And when we first journey down the path of designing more accessible course offerings, we might start to feel like that elephant is parachuting toward a moving target, especially when we consider the residual after effects of triage pandemic teaching. But perhaps more importantly, this time offered us a distinct opportunity for all stakeholders, students, teachers, administrators, and parents, to explore how technology can fundamentally change the nature of a quality, equitable, and inclusive learning experience. Screaming for a return to linear, synchronous, in-person modes of thinking and instruction is dangerous. My son, for example, struggles to articulate himself along obvious lines of communication, relying much more heavily on color, space, shape, time, sound, and technological mediation to make sense of his world. His neurodivergence isn't something to be treated or fixed. Instead, our educational systems need a course correction, and modality is just one of the many pathways we need to pursue. We are quick to acknowledge that knowing, making, and doing happen in various ways, whether through virtual interfacing, writing, drawing, or musical composing. But such endeavors can only be valid if vetted through the traditional in-school experience that can be quantified and over-tested. Funny how those data sets from all these methodologies don't often reveal what students really do or do not know. By no means do I have all the answers, but I can attest that the time is now for us to question our traditional delivery modes within our classrooms. It is, without a doubt, an accessibility issue, and if higher education is intent on surviving as a relevant place of innovation and human development, then we must ask ourselves how we might tackle this. The world is not flat, and neither should our thinking about how people learn. The first word in course design and modality should be access. The first question, how do we put this into action?